Since the very beginning, eClinicalWorks has focused on putting the provider at the center of patient care by making their job easier, safer, and more effective. And today on the eClinicalWorks podcast, we're going to be talking about the newest tool available to accomplish just that, Eva, the eClinicalWorks virtual assistant. Here to talk with me about that is Brian Saal from eClinicalWorks. Brian, thanks for being part of the show today.
It's always a pleasure, Adam.
So we're going to be talking about Eva, the eClinicalWorks virtual assistant, and that, of course, is the industry's first embedded virtual assistant. So this is going to be a tool that is part of your eClinicalWorks experience as of version 11. Brian, can you tell us a little bit about where Eva came from before we get into more about what it does?
Sure. The genesis of Eva comes from how the company watched how algorithms grew within, let's say, Google, for example. So previously, 5-7 years ago, you might go out to get an airplane reservation. You'd have to go to several different sites, United Airlines, JetBlue, etc., and do a lot of research digging into each site to try and find the flight that met your needs. Now, however, I can simply go out onto Google. I can put in that I want to fly from Boston to Denver on January 13th. And not only will Google give me all of the flights that are going to be available on that day with their prices, I can also book it directly from that spot. And it was that sort of all-inclusive one-stop shopping that inspired Eva internally for us to build it.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, as information becomes more and more prevalent, we need to be able to sift through it more effectively and more easily. And of course, the EMR is no different. We're recording all this information there. We need to be able to not only store that information, but access it when it comes time.
Access is the key. And as we all know that there is so much information, as you mentioned, that's out there, sometimes it can be difficult to really concentrate on that one area that you're in particular looking at. What Eva does to help with that is it allows you to ask a very, very simple question about a particular item. Let's say it's on a patient or even on a patient's billing. It's a full practice management solution, and Eva will then go out and get that answer for you right away in context and exactly what you need.
So how is Eva supposed to help the providers? What's the big idea here?
Well, I think it's trying to cut through a lot of, as we mentioned earlier, clicks and scrolling, and just to be, you could be very succinct in asking Eva a question. So, for example, I would be able to say, Eva, show me reviewed labs for John Smith. And Eva would then, no matter what I was doing, pull up all those labs for John Smith, and I could look at them right then and there.
And that's really one of the big breakthrough features of Eva, right? I mean, instead of having to click around and try to find things in menus or in patient hubs and things like that, you can actually literally just ask Eva for the information.
Exactly. And we still offer the ability for you to type that information in if you like, if you're not comfortable with using a voice-activated system. But again, if you are used to it and you do like it, it's so much faster and so much easier to get to that information, that critical patient information that you need right then and there.
Well, certainly, absolutely. The flexibility there of being able to type or speak to Eva to get information, I can see any number of ways that can be useful. I mean, maybe you're in the patient's exam room with the patient and you don't want to be asking a certain command. It might be sensitive, or you just don't want to make the patient feel like you're not paying attention to them. Brian, you mentioned an example of where this could be helpful by looking up labs, but where is Eva really going to have a huge benefit for providers?
Well, let's say you're looking at a patient's progress note, and you really want to see what the previous progress note looked like. Now with Eva, I can simply ask her to display the previous progress note without having to get out of the progress note I'm working on. So I will be able to see both progress notes side by side, make my decisions based on that, and treat the patient accordingly.
That's great. No more having to close out, like I said, close out of what you're doing, find other information, remember what you are looking for, and then come back.
Come back in.
Seems like it would be a great time saver, make things much easier.
It's a great time saver.
Now, like I said before, eClinicalWorks is really all about improving the provider's experience with the EMR and with their delivering medicine as well. How else is EVA geared to help improve the provider experience?
Well, one of the most, I guess I'd have to say, exciting things about EVA are the embedded videos that come with the product. That is to say, I can ask EVA to, let's say, show me how to open a telephone encounter. And EVA will then pop up a short video, which will show me exactly how to do that. It covers everything from billing to front office to the clinical side of things. I believe there's over 400 separate embedded videos within EVA to help providers not only with knowing what they're doing with the product that they currently have, but it's also going to introduce them to some new features that they may not have known about within eClinicalWorks. So it's a great educational tool on top of being a great clinical and practice management tool.
So what you're saying is that in the future, if we get EVA working in our practice, then we're not going to have to go out of eClinicalWorks, log on to the support site, look up documentation of how you would do something. I don't have to call anybody. I can actually get that information right there in the EMR and get help with what I'm trying to do.
That is absolutely correct.
That sounds like a huge advantage there as well. I think another key feature, Brian, is that EVA is, of course, very context specific. So if I'm in the telephone encounter, I'll see information related to the telephone encounters. If I'm in a lab, I'll see information related to the lab, things like that. And of course, EVA is getting better and better all the time.
All the time. One of the things that we're doing with EVA is if you were to ask her a question that she didn't understand, she would tell you, I'm afraid I don't understand this question. But what would happen then is that she would log it, and a report of that would be sent back to eClinicalWorks, where our machine intelligence developers would look at it. They would work on finding a solution to what that question was. And in the future, then you would be able to ask that same question that EVA didn't understand a few months ago. Now she will, and now she'll be able to answer it. So it's an ongoing process where EVA is growing and learning with each passing day.
Brian, all these enhanced features, the multitasking, the embedded education, all of the assistance with the information retrieval, what is that going to cost eClinicalWorks users?
Well, with version 11, it is cost-free.
So there's no reason not to sign up for a demo today. If any of these features are interesting to you, you feel like they're going to be helpful in your office, you can sign up for a demo. Either log a case on my.eclinicalworks.com or get in touch with your SAM, who can set you up with a time for a demo. Brian, thank you so much for being here and answering our questions on the eClinicalWorks podcast today. If you'd like more information about any of the things that we discussed, you can check out my.eclinicalworks.com. And of course, you can look for our other eClinicalWorks podcast episodes on iTunes, YouTube, or my.eclinicalworks.com. For the eClinicalWorks podcast, I'm Adam Siladi.
I'm Brian Saal.
And thanks for watching.